Coinbase recently put out an article talking about how users will soon be able to trade millions of on-chain assets directly on the Coinbase apps with DEX trading. Traders can now access a new world of base assets on the decentralized exchanges through Coinbase's easy-to-use and seamless user interface. Now, the reason why this is huge is because this will be the first time retail actually gets to experience on-chain trading without knowing it's actually on-chain. The biggest barrier to entry to on-chain is the fact that there's so many platforms to use. There's a lot of security that you have to take into account and a bunch of different platforms that you don't know where to exactly go for the best liquidity. And you've got to manage wallets and passwords and all these different things. The fact that Coinbase is able to abstract that all away and make it easy to use while not knowing your DEX trading is huge, which is why I'm going to be talking about Base and how I plan to capitalize on what's going on with this change happening on Coinbase. And it's going to be mainly through Ethereum, because Ethereum is going to be the hint as to how to take advantage of this. Now, this news on its own isn't going to matter too much. What matters is the chart of Ethereum, because that's going to be driving the narrative of DEX trading and opportunities. So if we take a look at the Ethereum chart, we have just tapped all-time highs at about 4,800, with previous all-time highs, I think, being around $4,900 right there. Same thing, very close to where we were. And you can see we have a little bit of a pullback. I am expecting a pullback to about $3,600 to $3,800. We can just pull that down a little bit lower. And we potentially have one more drop coming. This could be it, and we simply could range within this box. Obviously, trading and investing is scenarios. It's not a crystal ball where you know what's going to happen. We could simply range in here and then move towards the upside, or we could have a bigger drawdown before moving on up. But I do think that move towards the upside is coming, as is hinted on the Ethereum BTC pair, as we have bottomed earlier in 2025 in May, and we've had about 100% move towards the upside, just touching that trend line. Probably going to get a pullback, which is why I think we're going to get a deeper pullback on Ethereum BTC, or USD, I should say. The only way we don't pull back on Ethereum USD is if Bitcoin begins taking off in a very meaningful way and holds up the Ethereum USD pair. So this is one reason why I'm going to be paying attention to Ethereum, specifically on Base, because I think Base is going to benefit a lot, especially with the retail demand coming in from their DEX trading. Now, if you just take a look at Coinbase on DeFi Llama, we can see the total value has skyrocketed since 2025 and actually broken the all-time highs we had back in December and January when the market topped. So you can see that has been broken in a significant way. Not only that, DEX volume, as you can see on Base, is absolutely skyrocketing. And I do think that this trend will continue. And what we see now being the normal $1.3 billion volume in a day is going to be eclipsed in the coming months as Ethereum takes out all-time highs. So the fact that we have the narrative of DEX trading coming online through Coinbase and Ethereum is breaking all-time highs soon, I do think Base is going to capture a massive portion of the liquidity. Now, the question is, how do we manage to benefit from this move? Well, there's a lot of ways. There's a bunch of AI coins on Base that I've talked about on this channel before. Not only that, I want to talk about Aerodrome, because Aerodrome is going to be a liquidity sponge for Base. It has deep liquidity. If projects want to launch and capture the fees from the trading volume, they're going to launch on Aerodrome. And Aerodrome has already increased in volume in the past couple of months since May. You guys can see it is approaching those all-time high levels, not quite there yet. Total value has not quite moved in a significant way, but I do think that is lagging, simply because if we take a look at the arrow chart right here, we can see it has made some major moves. And I do expect the stats for total value locked to catch up, and I do expect the volume to increase. You can see we've been ranging for these past 2 years since it launched in 2024. We had a massive move towards the upside, but since then, no meaningful moves. We've simply been ranging. But if you guys aren't aware, the longer we trade sideways, the higher move towards the upside. And right now, I've got a move projected by the 1.618 fib right there, about $5.33. And that isn't a major move after breaking a potential top right there. That's only about 134%, being very conservative. So what we're looking at for right now, since Aerodrome is moving towards the upside, is there's going to be a couple things to happen here. Even though price action looks pretty great, it all depends on Ethereum, because Aerodrome is going to be a beta to Ethereum. So what I do expect here is for a potential pullback, unless obviously Ethereum breaks all-time high, then obviously Aerodrome is going to move along with it. But right now, we simply are looking for a retest down here at about $1 for Aerodrome. And like I said, Aerodrome is going to act as a beta. So if you want exposure to Ethereum and Base, then Aerodrome is going to be the token to go for. So a pullback to about $1 isn't going to surprise me. If we just simply look at history, we can see $1 has provided us with support in the past. With this move towards the downside, you can see we've held it multiple times. We topped here at about 0.3, moved down, support, moved up, moved down, support. So $1 not only is technical support on the chart. It is also psychological support, as a dollar is a round number where people can feel comfortable to bid. So I wouldn't be surprised to see us pull back towards there and then continue the march towards the upside. And that would provide us with a really nice move of about 127% back to the top. And then the question comes, do we actually break the top with some kind of narrative and news and head towards that $5 range? Yet to be seen, but this is something to keep on your radar because the narrative is forming currently within the socials and within Twitter. Now, the next thing I want to take a look at, because I have been looking for Aerodrome beta plays as well, as Aerodrome is a $1.1 billion protocol. I do think we're going to have opportunities within Aerodrome, and I managed to find this token called Reflect. Right here, you guys can see Reflect building AI solutions, reflecting on your intentions on chain. So what Reflect allows you to do is build synthetics on their platform, also using AI. So we're going to break down a couple of things and what they mean. Let's move on to Reflect right here. We are super excited to announce that RFL USD pool on Aerodrome Fi just leveled up. It's now fully automated and optimized with hands-free LP with auto rebalancing and concentrated liquidity with the highest capital efficiency in the market. So essentially what happens here, they've used DeFi and AI to make sure they are taking full advantage of LP managing. That means there's not going to be any more manual unlocking and removing your money in a very efficient way. Instead, the AI is simply going to do it for you while you sleep, which is a huge benefit for LPing. If you've never LP'd before, it is annoying because a lot of things can change at any time, and having to manually do it can be a very tedious task. So this is a great step for automating LPing and make sure your money earns while you sleep in a very efficient way. Now, the next thing we want to take a look at here is the super agent. They basically have a number of agents out there which specialize in separate things. So they have an execution agent, which helps you execute on the task at hand. They have another agent that helps analyze exactly what you're looking for. So if you're looking for the highest APR pair, you might type in what's the highest APY pair, and then I'll tell you, oh, Zora USD has the highest APY. And they have a third agent to strategize your portfolio optimization. So they've got a lot of utility here that can help you with your portfolio management, and it's building that narrative that they've got an AI to help you with DeFi, which is that DeFi AI narrative. So we know DeFi is going to be huge based off the chart. If we simply look at the DeFi chart right here through the total market cap, total DeFi right there, this fits into the total DeFi play, and it's a very small market cap. As you guys can see, the FDV is a lot higher, or I should say double. So you've got a market cap of 3.4. There's some of that locked, which is the FDV. And if this begins to take off, it's going to benefit from total DeFi also moving towards the upside as Base begins to capture more attention and more liquidity. On top of that, it is an AI play. It is worth mentioning this is still very risky because on top of it being an F beta, it is also an Aerodrome beta. So they really need to execute on their vision here to actually make sure they capture the upside. It's also worth noting that this team got hacked recently, and this is a relaunch. They got hacked on their previous token called GB. You guys can take a look at it on Twitter, and they had to relaunch a new token, which has rubbed people the wrong way with this token. So that is worth noting about the team and the project. But as of right now, the sentiment seems to have reset. The new chart looks a lot better. You guys can see we're currently in accumulation, and I do think we will see this token perform late into the cycle as it is one of the smaller caps. But you can see the volume kind of entering here, and the volume to me is what's signaling that there is interest in this token. If we simply go out to the 1 week, we can see the massive volume that had entered on December, which is a green flag, and then we have the same amount of volume almost matching up right there. So there's a lot of people eyeing this, and with Aerodrome looking as good as it is on the chart, I wouldn't be surprised to see RFL also take off with the break of this all-time high and even touching this top right there. So that is how I'm capitalizing on a couple of plays on Base. I just wanted to highlight Aerodrome on this video. Of course, I am also exposed to virtuals on Base, as I have been talking about it multiple times. I've mentioned it on my Telegram group. We're simply waiting for that liquidity to flow in because the narrative is there, and we know that Coinbase has been heavily investing in retail and Coinbase and Base as an app. So we're just waiting. It's a waiting game. I do think the last couple of months are going to be extremely profitable for those who have patience with Base. So with that said, guys, I want to update you guys as we continue on this journey towards the all-time highs and the blow off top. As for now, we're just going to have to wait and see what happens in the months of September, October. So good luck trading, and I'll see you on the next one.